Hi, everyone. I want to thank you for taking the time today to come to this training about e-learning. It's good to see you. I know that you took part in the web conference that we had, the first one where it was an asynchronous and you were watching it on your own. So it's really good to see everyone today. I just want to point out some of the controls that you have within WebEx. You can mute using the mute button at the top, or if you click it, you can use the microphone and I can see both of you, so I can see that your video is on. There's a participant button at the top where you can see who is at our conference today, and you can also use the chat at the top. Just a reminder to reduce distractions by muting your phone and finding a quiet, private area to work as we complete the training together today. Please make sure your video is on, and it is, of course, because I can see you. You can practice turning on and off your microphone and click on the participants in the meeting. There is also the chat button, like I said, where you can add information or questions as we go along. Today, we're going to do some annotations using the toolbar, and here's just a little arrow showing you where annotate is on your toolbar. It could be at the top of your screen. It also might be at the bottom of your screen. Today, we're going to be discussing some of the ideas from chapter 3 of the book that we started using the last time, completing several activities and reflecting on your thinking about the information. The book is Thinking Collaboratively, Learning in a Community of Inquiry by D. Randy Garrison. Today's objectives, our participants can explain how technology enhances communication in an educational setting. Participants can describe blended learning approach and how it can be used to design a lesson. And participants can describe a flipped classroom approach and how it can be used to design a lesson. Technology is disrupting and shaping how we approach and design education experiences, mostly for the better. I think we all have experiences where we see students where they're on their phone and very engaged in the classroom, but that does not equal the type of technology that we're going to talk about today. Technology makes possible connected communities that can be sustained over time and place. Weak tie connections. Weak tie connections are a form of groupthink with a lack of purposeful engagement due to a lack of critical focus, leadership, common goals, and or real interpersonal connection. The picture shows that there are a group of students that are sharing lots of ideas, but simply sharing those ideas does not equal group discourse and reflection. Strong tie connections. Strong tie connections are characterized by a community of learners having trust, commitment, purpose, focus, and common goals, and are capable of sustained discourse and critical reflection. How are you feeling when reviewing these ideas from our last training session? Use the reaction emoticons to give me an idea of your thinking. You should be able to find that little smiley face on your toolbar. Gary, good. Looks like you're feeling pretty good about it. Jen, are you able to find that emoticon? Good. Great. Looks like you're both feeling pretty good about it. We need to understand the properties and power of both oral and written communication and how they can best be integrated if we are to design optimal thinking and learning experiences. As the pictures show, discourse between students and writing can go back and forth when we are working within a lesson. Oral written exercises. Verbal discourse may be appropriate to begin exploring a subject, but writing can allow us to rigorously review and refine ideas through objective reflections that are not time dependent. Written or text-based communication allows some time to think about what one is going to write before others read, reflect on, and respond. Assess your thinking. When students are collaborating in groups, which of the following should be included in the educational experience? Here, I'm going to have you annotate. So if you click the annotate button at the top of in the toolbar, it should bring up an annotation toolbar for you. And see, I have allowed each of you to annotate. So if you would use the arrow key there that you can see highlighted with the red oval on the toolbar and put a green arrow next to the actions that you should include in a lesson and a red arrow next to actions that you should exclude from a lesson. Good. So Jen, I saw that you had a red arrow next to write an independent written reflection after the meeting and also as a group reflect in writing during the meeting. We definitely want to participate in group discourse to explore content. Let's look at what the correct answers are for this slide. So write an independent written reflection after each meeting. We want students to be able to do that. As a group, reflect in writing during the meeting is something we would not want students to do. We want them to be able to have the time to reflect on their own independently after the group discourse. Independent reflection and writing slow down the production of the message for the benefit of more insightful, researched, and crafted communication. Reducing cognitive load. Independent reflection and writing also reduces cognitive load and memory demands with content and allows access to additional supportive resources. Assess your thinking. Designing learning experiences that allow for independent reflection and writing supports student growth through which of the following? Here, I'm going to have you use your annotation pen. So let me make sure that your annotation is turned on for you. It says that you can annotate. Go ahead and use the pen tool. You can use any color and go ahead and put a check mark next to those that you think would be supporting designing learning experiences. Good. I can see your responses. We have a check mark next to reduce cognitive load and 2 next to access to supportive resources. So for this, we want to reduce the cognitive load for students. We want to give them access to supportive resources and also give them time for insightful and well-crafted responses. We do not want to give them greater memory demands. Technology can mediate cognition and collaboration, but creative approach and design will support and sustain collaborative thinking that includes reflection and discourse. Blended learning approach integrates face-to-face and online learning experiences so that there's an optimal integration of verbal interaction and written communication, reflective written communication. I think at this point, most teachers have had experience with some sort of blended learning approach. COVID gave us that opportunity, I think we can call it that, to have both face-to-face and online learning. Blended learning represents a fundamental redesign that transforms traditional information focused learning into enhanced interaction and engagement for knowledge construction, where we can turn information into knowledge for the students. In the classroom, provide opportunities for communities of students to have meaningful conversations about content with effective discourse and independent time to draft meaningful responses and reflection using innovative technologies. Assess your thinking. Read the following parts of a lesson. Which activities would support an effective blended learning approach? Again, I'm going to have you annotate here. This time, I'm going to have you use the box tool at the top. I can see that each of you have permissions to annotate. You can use any color and go ahead and put a box around the parts of the lesson plan you think we should include to have effective blended learning. In the chat, just let me know if you're having any issues with using the tools or if you need more time. Jen, it looks like your face tells me you're having some issues. Are you doing okay? Can you use the tool? Jen, I think, have I lost you? It looks like maybe you might be having some difficulty with, okay, I'm not showing up. Let me see if I can use my annotation tool and once again, turn on permissions and see if that helps. Are you able to see it now? Oh, good. Okay. Jen, this video is recording today, so I can email this out to you afterwards, and you can go back and watch it if um, your connection isn't doing well during the meeting. Okay, let's see what the answers are to these questions. So the parts of the lesson to include would be students with common interests and goals read chapters of a book at home. So we're utilizing the time where they are doing work on their own at home. Um, and then the students discuss the characters' decisions and whether they agree or disagree with the characters in class so that the time that is being spent in class together is utilized for discourse. And then at home, students would reflect on the group's discussion and the characters' choices and post a crafted response. An example of a blended learning approach is flipping the traditional classroom where students can be introduced to a lesson and the content online before class. Here you can see looks a little different than the traditional classroom. The student at home is on the computer and is actually watching a lesson. And then when they're in class, they're actually engaging in an activity where the teacher is facilitating. The flipped approach opens the possibility to use the class time to engage the learners in thoughtful discourse, to challenge and refine their understanding. Designing sustained discourse and an opportunity to independently reflect and craft a thoughtful response becomes possibility in a flipped approach classroom. Again, you can see the traditional classroom where the teacher may be lecturing and the homework activity, the student is working alone and it doesn't provide almost any opportunity for discourse. But in the flipped classroom, the lecture is at home and the students in class are engaging in discourse. In the space below, please type an explanation for how a flipped classroom approach and the traditional classroom are different. You can use the text tool, annotation tool. Let me click on that and open that up for you. Okay, go ahead and click on the text tool and type anywhere on the white space your response. And then in the chat, you can just let me know if you're having any issues with the annotation tool again. Don't see the typing. Are you able to get to your annotation tool? Let's see. Let me again open up those permissions. Is it showing up again now? Gary, are you able to get to your annotation tool? Okay. It is not show. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah, my like really slow, so I like didn't see any slides. I'm not really sure. Okay, now I can see the annotations.
In the chat, there we go. There is more communication for online discussions. Okay. Well, Jen, it looks like you're still having issues with the annotation. So let's go ahead and move on. We have opportunities. We have the opportunity to impact student growth by facilitating collaboration and creating the exercise to construct complex thought and reflection through sustained virtual learning communities. Technologies can be used to create and sustain powerful learning communities where information and critical thinking are fused. Strong tie connections include which of the following? So I'm going to go ahead and put in your chat, or right below your chat, you should have a bar that says polling. And within that polling, I'm going to here, lost my mouse. I'm going to open up a poll for you where you can respond to a question. Okay, so in that polling bar, you should be able to see a poll now that says, Strong tie connections include which of the following? Go ahead and put in your answers there. You can choose as many as you would like, and then go ahead and submit your answers. Okay, it looks like I have 2 out of 2. I'll close that poll. And now I can show you the results of that poll. If you could let me know in the chat, can you see those results? Good. Okay, I can see you shaking your head. Good. Okay. Let's talk about the answers to that poll. So the answers to that poll are actually all of the options that you had. That strong tie connections include commitment, purpose, common goals, sustained discourse, and critical reflection. Blended learning with a flipped classroom approach allows class time to be focused on student discussion, engagement, and discourse. So I'm going to open up another poll. And in this poll, if you go to your polling bar underneath your chat, I'm going to open up a different one this time. And this one talks about a flipped classroom and what is included. This time there is only one correct answer. Go ahead and click on the answer you think is correct. Good. Okay, I see 2 out of 2 responses. And here I can show you the results. So in this one, the correct answer was in-class engagement and discourse. How do you see blended learning and or flipped classroom being used in your classroom? Please raise your hand to share some of your ideas. Jen, do you have any thoughts?
Well, like thinking of it like from my perspective, we have a lot of kids that don't have technology. So I think it would be really cool to kind of like maybe send something home that's like a paper reading that they take home and they read it. And then we do more online stuff in class where they can kind of engage with some type of a technology. So
Wow, so your district does not provide any any technology for the students to have?
we have laptops, but they don't like they're not one-on-one.
Got it. Okay, it does make it a little challenging to do a flipped classroom, yeah. Gary, I see your hand up. What are your thoughts? I think you're on mute. Gary, can you unmute on your toolbar? Might be your audio connections. I think if you click the little arrow next to your mute button. Oh, you just want to put your information in the chat. Great. Mm, yeah. Having technology is pretty important if we want to do a flipped classroom, isn't it? It makes it really challenging to design lessons if we can't give them the technology they need at home. Okay, thanks for those responses. Okay, well, I will email everyone a recorded version of the session. I know that we had some issues in here working with annotations and also with just connections. So at least if you missed some slides, you can see that version of the session. Moving forward, I'm just going to have you include the following tasks. Please write down any questions that you have from today's session and send them to me via email before our next session. And then I'm just going to have you reflect. If you will take some time to write down a reflection and think about the following, about how you plan to incorporate the blended learning flipped classroom into your classroom design and planning, and post the reflection to your team's chat. Like Jen said, it may be a challenge. You may have to send home some written lecture material if blending it using technology is an issue, but we'll see what we can do with it. Thank you for making the time for the session today. I appreciate it. It was great to see you. Bye.